For the second time this weekend, it's time for Toyota GR Cup North America to go racing here at Road America. 4 miles around, 14 turns. This historic road course has history that dates back to the mid-1950s, with racing through the city streets and country roads of this part of Wisconsin dating back even further than that. Yesterday was a race to remember for Toyota GR Cup in the pouring rain. Some of the most dramatic images we have seen all season long, and it's shaping up to be a fantastic race in the dry here this afternoon at America's National Park of Speed. My name is Ryan Marine. DJ Clark will be alongside here shortly. It's a surprise pole sitter here today with Christian Weir able to knock off Gresham Wagner late in the qualifying session earlier today. Christian for Tech Sport Racing, left-hand side of the screen, set to line up from P1. The points leader Wagner did not have the best of days yesterday, DJ, but he's still the points leader by a hefty margin and finds himself in prime position to fight for yet another win today.
Yeah, he certainly does. And anytime Gresham Wagner takes to the track, he is always going to be a force to be reckoned with, as is the rest of his Copeland Motorsports cadre. Jackson Bell, Weston Workman up in the top 5 there. Mia Lovell back in 7th. She's always one to watch out for. She had a little bit of a scruffy day yesterday, but I certainly think she'll be able to come back on that for this. But it's going to be a little bit of a... She had a little bit of a scruffy day yesterday, in part because of the weather. Let's take a look at the weather today, Ryan, because conditions aren't necessarily perfect, but they're still a lot better than what we saw yesterday when these GR Cups headed to the track.
Certainly so. We don't have a deluge, so that helps. Although I guess the race didn't start in the deluge now, did it? That just picked up as the race went along. Don't expect any significant rainfall over the course of this race here today, but high humidity and cloud cover won't rule it out entirely, especially given just how inconsiderate the forecasters have been, not giving us the full information all throughout the course of the weekend. Let's talk Road America here, DJ. A look at this beautiful venue, 14 turns in 4 miles.
It is the National Park of Speed, and it is aptly named. It is fast, it is flowing. It's also technical and tricky at the same time. It's really the perfect combination of a race course. Looking at a couple of major overtaking opportunities down into 5, down into Canada Corner in 12, and maybe down into turn 8, although in these GR Cup cars, we have seen overtaking possible in literally every corner on this racetrack. I think back to last year when the battles between Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner, we saw the two of them side by side pretty much from turn 2 all the way around to Canada Corner.
Yesterday, one of the fun storylines was seeing some newcomers to the championship run towards the front. It was fun to see different names feature in the wet, and one of them was Yuki Sano. He might have been the star of the show.
Yeah, he really was. Yuki put on a fantastic performance. Unfortunately, caught himself out on the last restart, went off track, and then picked up a penalty as well. But he's one of 2 drivers that has come over from Japan, courtesy of Toyota. They really and truly believe in both Yuki Sano and Urabe to come in, and they are a showcase of not only what Toyota can do, but what these GR Cup cars can do.
Pretty cool story. It's part of a 2-week boot camp for Kazuhisa Urabe and Yuki Sano, where they came over. They've been doing a little bit of everything, including testing a Pro late model, testing a winged micro sprint. They've been engaged with the Toyota racing development folks and doing some things with their fitness as well. Just a remarkable program and a great way to expose them to racing outside of their native Japan, where they're both in the middle of an F4 season right now.
Yeah, and it goes to show the commitment that Toyota has to racing and how much they care about it, that they're sending drivers like this over here. And we are so thankful as a part of the SRO Motorsports Group to have them on board. There, we've got a Toyota fan in the stands out there. Lovely little cars out on the track. Gotta say, I keep threatening to get one, and my fiance keeps immediately shooting me down. So
yeah, you keep working on her. You never know.
Exactly.
We can certainly put in the pressure. Maybe the viewers at home can direct a little pressure her way, and next thing you know, maybe your dream comes true.
Maybe it will. There's another one. I love seeing all of this out there, and that's a beautiful, beautiful model out there. And we love seeing them come around the track. And Toyota does so much for SRO Motorsports Group at the track as well. There's great pop-up exhibits. There's a huge, I don't want to call it a pop-up or a trailer, because it's really a mobile building that they erect every single weekend.
Yeah, the fan engagement is second to none. It's awesome to have Toyota as part of the championship again for the second year under the SRO umbrella. And a big part of the SRO's State of the Series announcement earlier this week was the extension of the deal. That Toyota GR Cup is going to be part of the package for several years to come.
Yeah, and we're very happy to have them on board. This is obviously, and I'm very, very biased, but one of my favorite parts of every weekend. I think the Toyota GR Cup North America puts on an absolutely fantastic show no matter what track we go to. It's absolutely incredible. And I think today is going to be no difference. Road America always puts on a good race. And Ryan, I can see the other big part of this is the prize money that is at stake.
That's a huge part of the appeal of this championship. Real prize money on offer. A race win pays 12 grand, 10 grand for second place, 8,000 for third, and then 5,000 for fourth on down to eighth. Highest finishing female can also add an additional $5,000, and the season champion takes home $50,000. Big money on offer in GR Cup, and that's a big reason why the grid is so strong one year to the next.
Yeah, it certainly is. We've had upwards of 30 cars both years, but speaking of the grid, let's go ahead and go through it. You already talked about earlier Christian Weir able to put that number 71 on pole position outside of the provisional favorite here, Gresham Wagner. Copeland Motorsports, Jackson Bell, and Weston Workman doing what they have done earlier in the season. They're in the second row. Then it's Mike Kolbecker who took the victory in yesterday's race. Absolutely fantastic job for Tech Sport Racing. Luke Brumberg's going to start to his outside. It's the other member of the Copeland Motorsports cadre, Mia Lovell. She'll start 7th. Then Jordan Rick Segrini in 8th place. Always a contender there. He always punches above his weight. Devin Anderson, another Tech Sport Racing driver, is 9th. And Lucas Weisenberg, that family-run team, he'll roll off 10th.
In the 6th starting position, Henry Drury had a good day yesterday, finished on the podium. Max Hewitt will start in 12th. Then it's Yuki Sano, the star in the wet yesterday. He'll do what he can in the dry. Next to Alex Garcia, who led a bunch of the race yesterday. He starts 14th. Jade Avedizian, the dirt track ace, starting in the 15th position today, next to the Japanese driver Kazuhisa Urabe. Ford Cook and Bennett Muldoon starting in row 9. In row 10 to Stephen Clemens and Casey Mashore.
Matty Oust going to be rolling off in 21st for BSI Racing. Then it will be Farron Davis to her outside in the number 11 machine. Moving back into row 12, it's Andrew Gilliland and Alfonso Diaz as they continue to try to push their way forward. Diaz another one of those Tech Sport Racing drivers. James Clemus rolls off in 25th, followed by Roman Lano in 26th position. And back on the field there will be Aiden Kirk, another one of the Tech Sport Racing drivers. And that will constitute the full breadth of our 27-car field. And Ryan, here at this point, lots of these drivers weaving back and forth, probably working the brakes a little bit, trying to get those Continental tires up to temperature and making sure they're nice and clean for this green flag start.
Crucial moments here on the formation lap to get the temps in the tires, in the brakes where you want them to be for the start. It's also a sighting lap just to take a look and make sure nothing has changed visually around the racing circuit from the last time they were on track this morning. Good news is conditions here very similar to what they were this morning in the qualifying session, unlike yesterday when they fired off into the unknown with a damp but drying racetrack, which became a saturated racetrack when the deluge found us here in mid-Wisconsin.
Working their way right now up towards Bill Mitchell Bend. It will be Christian Weir for Tech Sport Racing in the number 71. That is that white and black machine you see on the inside. Gresham Wagner in the number 5, the black and Dayglow machine to his outside. They will constitute the front row. Control of the field goes over to Christian Weir as they work their way through the final corner here at this point. Turn 14, slowly but surely working their way up. It is a very long wait for the green flag here. They've got to get into the VP acceleration zone before they are able to start going. But Tom Hansing, our starter, will have their eyes on him. Want to see those nice 2 clean columns. They are not allowed to break out of those columns until they cross the start-finish line. They begin to crest the hill here at this point. Christian Weir in control of the field, getting ready to get on the loud pedal. There we can see it. They enter into the VP acceleration zone. There goes the green. We are racing here in Road America. America. It's a good getaway for the front row here. Weir and Wagner both going to be in a straight drag race. A little bit of 3 wide behind them here as they try to fan themselves out. Wagner may have a little bit of an inch ahead, but Weir's going to be later on the brakes as they dive down into turn 1.
Weir in the white car, Wagner in the black and orange machine. Weir, the pole sitter, holds on to the top spot. Looked like a couple of cars might have broke column at the start. We do have some strife further back in the pack. I think that's Garcia who was caught up. That car damaged. Heartbreaking for Alex, who was having a good run this morning in the touring car race, and he had a suspension failure, cost him a result.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That may have actually been Henry Drury that he got into the side of there at that point, and those two making contact. It looked like Garcia got the worst for wear, but we'll have to wait to find out. At the front of the field, Weir continues to leave. Wagner, Bell trying to make a big move on his teammate, trying to make a big move for the lead late on the binder, somehow keeps it together, and that's Bell getting a little roughed up from Christian Weir, but he'll have a nose ahead as they climb the hill into turn 6.
He at least took second. Can he take the lead as well? That's the number 99 car to the flank. A little bit of contact there with Christian Weir. It gets shoved out wide to Jackson Bell, and that shuffles him back a little bit. Weir holds on to the top spot. Bell is up into second. Wagner, the big loser here, he's dropped a couple of positions, and he's under attack again.
Yeah, that's Luke Rumberg trying to go to the outside there at that point. I see a little bit of Jordan Rick-Sacrini and as well as Lucas Weisenberg trying to get themselves involved in that battle as they work their way through the carousel. We've got 2 wide farther back in the field. I believe that's Devin Anderson trying to hang that car around the outside there of Lucas Weisenberg. And Anderson does the nearly unthinkable outside of the carousel, runs onto the grass, but I think he's got the move almost done. No, Weisenberg's going to fight back going into the kink.
Oh, and it's side by side into the kink. Oh, up over the curb there. I think that was Drury with the right sides over the curb there on the inside of the corner, but they do make it through somehow. 3 wide here, deep in the back on the run into Canada corner. This is going to be interesting.
Slice it and dice it and slice it as they come down into Canada corner. That's Yuki Sano side by side with Arabe, as Kazuhisa is doing a good job of working his way up through the field. Maybe it's his day to shine here at Road America as opposed to Sano. Indeed, those 2 Japanese drivers putting on a display here through Bill Mitchell Bend.
They're side by side at the moment. This is turn 14, final turn before we head back up onto the main straightaway. So the 2 that have been brought over here by Toyota Gazoo Racing, they found each other on the racetrack, not cutting each other too much slack either. They run nose to tail. Black car ahead is Urabe with Sano right behind.
Little bit of a move farther back in the field here at this point. They're going to try to get a little bit of a run. That's Stephen Clements seeing if he's got anything. There, Christian Weir trying to block off as much as he can to see if he can prevent any attack. And no, excuse me, there they go. That's the 39 trying to be able to hold that off. That's Devin Anderson and Max Hewitt trying to fight their way through. Anderson pushing his way ahead. Spike Kolbecker looking as well. There you see Sano trying to make a move, and that's going to be another one of our foreign drivers. Henry Drury in the Segra, number 44, making a good move on Yuki Sano.
Yeah, native of London in the UK, has come over here to pursue his racing with the PT Autosport bunch. Looking pretty stout here in the early going. Had a best run of the season yesterday. Great to see for Henry. Back at the front of the field, though, the battle is on again. Jackson Bell looks so good under the brakes here into turn number 5. Brings him right to the tailpipes of Christian Weir. Looking left, now comes back to the right as Weir takes the middle road in under the Corvette Bridge.
Nice defensive driving there from Christian Weir. Not too far over to the left, just planting the car exactly where he wanted to. A little bit of a fade there coming into turn 7. He is well aware of what's happening in his rearview mirror here at this point. Weston Workman, I don't know if that was an attack or a defense, one way or the other. He moved out of line a little bit, but the top 4 will stay in that order. Weir, Bell, Workman, and Wagner.
Workman started second yesterday, but faded. Didn't have the result in the rain that he was looking for. Looking a little bit more solid here in the dry, and he's got the championship leader right behind him, filling up the mirrors. That's Gresham Wagner, who started on the front row, but has dropped back to the 4th position. Former touring car champion in the SRO paddock, Gresham Wagner. He's a single-make ace, that's for sure, but he goes wide there at the exit of the kink and has to gather it back up.
Yeah, he was lucky to be able to hold that together. Didn't lose too much time to Luke Rumberg, but Jordan Rick-Sacrini now going to try to make the move. Is up for the front of the field. Jackson Bell trying to go the outside of Canada corner. He is fed out by Christian Weir. Bell able to get back onto the track, but that was a hairy moment for the Californian.
Well, we saw him have one of those right here yesterday. Remember, he was leading the race when he went off in the wet conditions, went bounding over the grass, up over some of the culverts there in the inside of the racetrack, and it cost him dearly. maybe a chance to win the race. Instead, this time he's able to gather it together and stays in line. We do have a drive-through penalty for a start violation, and it looks like the guilty party is Yuki Sano. I suspect that's for breaking ranks before the start-finish line at the initial drop of the green.
I think you're right about that, Ryan, as here comes the attack I was ready for. Gresham Wagner with a great run off of turn 14, able to get the move done on Weston Workman, his teammate. That's a very wide run, and a very wide run indeed for Luke Rumberg, who still continues to battle with Jordan Rick-Cicrini. Jackson Bell looking very aggressive here on the back of Christian Weir, and I think that is probably partially prompted by the fact that he now knows that Gresham Wagner's directly behind him.
Read my mind, DJ. I was about to say, the sense of urgency ramps up when the guy who's ruled the roost in this championship this year suddenly appears in your rearview mirror. Gresham Wagner has only been bested on a handful of occasions this season, so now's the time to go if you're Jackson Bell and you think you've got the pace advantage over Christian Weir. Again, he tries to make that outside move work into turn 5, and again he's denied. Still not able to plot a path by the 71, the tech sport driver Christian Weir showing the way.
He leads here at this point, but Bell continues to poke and prod, try to find that area where he's able to get by. We saw him take that look into turn 6. We don't see it down here into turn 8, but I have got to think that, as you said, that having that black and orange machine behind him has got to raise the impetus here a little bit, and there you can see different line from Gresham Wagner coming through the carousel, just trying to carry a little bit more speed than his Copeland Motorsport teammate.
Over the last few laps, Bell and Weir, they've been a bit like boxers, feeling each other out in the opening round of a bout. The difference, though, is we've got a third boxer in the ring now, and that's Gresham Wagner. He has drawn a bead on the top two, and he's got designs on making a move.
Yeah, he certainly does, and if anyone can pull it off, it is Gresham Wagner. But look at that, he's driving his own line. Bell is tucked up behind the tire tracks of Weir, now pulls out to the outside of Canada corner once again. Been a little bit of contact there. Bell looks for the crossover coming out of the Canada corner. I think he's able to draw up alongside, but to the outside of Bill Mitchell Bend is going to be very difficult, but Bell makes it stick.
It's going to take some cooperation to make this work. Into turn 14, Weir getting shuffled back from the lead at least to second. What kind of a run can Wagner get out of the corner? And don't forget about Weston Workman. He had the cleanest run through turn 14. He's there in the slipstream as the freight train starts to form to the left-hand side of the screen.
And I've got to give Jackson Bell credit there. That was a very heads-up move. He recognized the attack was from Gresham Wagner, tried to pin him in, but it doesn't matter anyways because Gresham Wagner's going to be able to get the run courtesy of the draft. He'll go to the outside. Bell a little bit earlier on the binders. Wagner's going to try to sweep around the outside. Contact between Workman and Bell.
Yeah, but they were able to sort it out. It's Wagner to the front. Bell now covering off the inside because Workman's got designs on trying to take that spot away and get back up inside the top two. He's not been there today. He spent some time there yesterday, however. They're going to want to team up, though, I suspect, or else Gresham Wagner might be able to jump away from this field.
Yeah, they've got to be very careful about that. They've also got to be looking behind here at this point because Luke Rumberg and Jordan Rick-Cicrini have frankly caught up to this battle as they come down the Moraine sweep. Big move to the inside there for Weston Workman on Jackson Bell, but it's not going to play out. Bell's able to cover that off. A little bit of a squiggle there for Gresham Wagner at the front of the field. Bell, again, likes to take that little look down to the inside of turn 6.
He seems to be really strong under braking. Some of the distance gained is just because the cars are going slower, but some of it also is his prowess with the middle pedal. Jackson Bell, pretty stout there in the brake zone in 5. Similar story here at the foot of the hill at the end of Hurry Downs. He's right there on the tail of the race leader, Gresham Wagner, headed to the carousel.
Wagner's going to lead again. A little bit of a tighter line there for Wagner. We saw him do that last year as well. He just likes to hug that inside of the track, almost diamond off that long 270-degree corner here. And it works well for him, obviously, but the defense from behind, that's almost pushing to the inside there as Christian Weir tries to make a move on Weston Workman. He gets it done before they fly through the kink, but not without going off onto the outside of the track. Weir trying to get back on. He's going to be able to do it, but not without losing the position. And now here comes Luke Rumberg.
Here comes Rumberg around the outside this time. We're fighting back. This is the erstwhile race leader. Some contact is made, but they're able to save it. Here comes Rick Segrini now into the mix as well. This is a great battle. The top 10 all nose to tail here at Road America.
Yeah, and this is the battle for P4 here at this point. Also, welcome to the battle, Lucas Weisenberg and Spike Kohlbecker. They're back in this conversation as well. Oh, car off in the background, going up and over. That's Devin Anderson. He's able to gather it, but there's some damage on the left rear.
And maybe more troubling, a lot of grass on the grill. That could lead to an overheating situation. The best news for him is it's relatively cool, but the sun is starting to peek out, and with that, the temperatures may start to rise. In the meantime, here's the fight at the front of the field. Wagner and Bell roaring into turn one.
Yeah, they're going to bring the cars down here at this point. Single file for the majority of the field, all the way back down into 8th place with Spike Kohlbecker. And it looks like all that squabbling has really allowed for Bell and Wagner to break away in two-car fashion up the front of the field. Weston Workman, Christian Weir, they're going to have to start to work together unless they want these two Copeland Motorsports drivers to run away with things.
That's a good point. These two are out of the same stable. Will they stay line astern? Will they cooperate? Or is the race on for the lead with 34 minutes to go? Doesn't look like the battle for third and fourth, there's any cooperation going on here. As the lunge comes up the inside again, Weir trying to steal that spot back from Weston Workman.
And Workman goes for the crossover as Weir was a little bit late into the corner there. They'll be side by side as they come up the hill into turn 6. Tricky to get the power down through that left-hander, and it looks like Workman's got it.
Well, he's going to need to give up positions anyway, is Christian Weir. This just from race control. He's going to have to settle in behind Luke Rumberg. That's back in the 7th position. That's a painful penalty, but I suspect it was for gaining an advantage by going off track, as we saw a few moments ago.
Yeah, I wonder if that was going down. Looks like we're going to have a replay here to be able to figure that out. And I've got a sneaking suspicion I may know what this is, Ryan. Yep, this is exactly what I thought it was. Coming down into the corner of the contact there, and he gained that position up by going way off to the outside of Canada corner.
Yeah, good point there. We saw him off track as well at the exit of the kink. So there were a couple moments to pick from. Race control pretty quick, handing down their judgment of the situation. And Weir will be now trying to give those positions up as soon as he can so that he can then have as much time left to go back forward as possible. Battle here at the exit of Canada corner. 55, I thought, was one of the cars involved. At any rate, that is Rumberg there fighting it out with the Kohlbecker 55 indeed, right behind him, 7th and 8th on the road.
And this just goes to show you the level of side-to-side racing that's going on. If you take a look there at Luke Rumberg's number 31, that right side mirror folded in. Absolutely fantastic. That's how close these drivers are running next to each other. It's one of the things we always love to see over the course of this race, as Gresham Wagner sets the fastest lap of the race at this last time of asking.
With his teammate hot on his heels too, these two working together, it would appear, to try and build a gap. It's now 1.4 seconds from the leader Wagner back to third place Weston Workman. Weston's running a bit by himself, and he'd love to get up there and run with his teammates if at all possible.
Yeah, he really would, but it looks like with nobody really there behind him to help, 0.6 of a second between the tech sport driver of Christian Weir and Weston Workman, he's going to have to do this the old-fashioned way.
That's a hard way to get it done, especially when the top two are working together the way that they appear to be at this stage. Workman by himself, then it's the Weir car actually starting to give some of those positions back up, I think. Rick Segrini has now worked his way up into 4th. Weisenberg into the 5th spot. And he's still got a couple more positions to give back, does Christian Weir, in order to avoid any further sanction.
As we take a look back here, this is Alex Garcia chasing down Stephen Clements. Remember, Garcia had that issue we thought may have been terminal earlier on in the race. Clearly it is not. Devin Anderson holding in behind him. No, excuse me, that's Urabe there behind him here. At this point, he's been able to get by Devin Anderson. So we were very impressed with Yuki Sano yesterday. It may be Urabe that we walk away from here. Both of these drivers unveiling themselves well.
Yeah, exactly right. That's what they're hoping to do with this program. Get the chance to come race stateside, get the chance to interact with race teams in a slightly different racing culture. We know how strong the racing culture is in Japan. But to get a chance to go out, see the world, get some of those experiences at a young age, really, really important as Japan continues to export so much good talent in motorsports, not just drivers as well, but thinking about engineers and manufacturers, things of that nature. So much comes out of Japan these days. Although it's been a little while since we've seen some fresh, young Japanese blood, I would say, racing in North America regularly. So maybe this could be the next wave.
I would certainly love to see that take place here as we take a look at the battle right now for 6th place. This is Lucas Weisenberg being followed as we've got a safety car. Safety car is deployed. Not sure for what that's for here at this point. We'll get that answer as soon as we can, but this is going to neutralize the field, and that gap that Bell and Wagner were working on is effectively gone.
Yeah, and it was growing by the lap too, so this is not what they wanted to see, but what it does do is it brings 3 Copeland cars now together for the restart, and maybe the 3 of them working together could be even more powerful than just the top 2. Understand there was an accident that brought out this safety car. We will pass along information when we receive it. For now, under 30 minutes to go here at Road America. And it is Gresham Wagner leading Jackson Bell, Weston Workman holding down the 3rd spot.
Well, now, obviously, this is going to help Weston Workman close on in, but I've got to wonder here, if you're Jackson Bell, if maybe this opens up a little bit of an opportunity. 30 minutes left to go. This is obviously going to narrow down the window in which you've got to attack, and we know Bell is one to attack. And I've got to think here at this point that he may be thinking this could play into his advantage a little bit.
Yeah, certainly so. I think you have to view this as an opportunity. If you're, a racing driver, you're going to take any of these turns of fortune and try and use them to your advantage. He's been on a nice run of form lately. Has Jackson Bell got that win at Circuit of the Americas, race number 2 there, had a string of 5 consecutive podiums at one stage. Doing a really nice job up against drivers like Wagner, like Workman, for instance, that have been racing for much longer than Jackson has. He's coming to this relatively late, much like his father Townsend did, but trying to follow that same rapid upward trajectory.
Yeah, and I had a chance to talk to Jackson after the race yesterday, and he was frankly downcast. That is just the nature of this young man, that he drove what I think is the best race that I've seen him drive all season long, but the fact that he did not get the win upset him. And that is just a testament to the type of driver that he is. He wants to be on that top step of the podium, and he and I chatted about it, and like I said, I complimented him very, very highly, and he just kind of looked at me and said, yeah, but I didn't get the win, man.
He did get some wins last year in the Skip Barber Formula Race Series, 6 of them in all. That kind of helped to get him jump-started. Again, bit of a family tradition. That's the same school that helped to propel Townsend Bell in his racing career. But for Jackson, perhaps the future might be in 10 tops rather than single-seaters, and this is definitely a great opportunity to test yourself against great drivers in equal equipment. One of the wonderful things about GR Cup is so many good prep teams working on these cars, but the package itself is the same, and it's really down to the driver more than anyone else on race day, which is what you want in a developmental series like this.
It's exactly what you want out of a developmental series, and Toyota has done such a great job of neutralizing the field as much as possible to give everyone a fighting chance. And yes, there's only been ostensibly a season and a half of this Toyota GR Cup North America series, but for what we've seen from it, oh my goodness, there is the crash there that we see, and we are hearing right now that is Bennett Muldoon in the number 15 machine. Driver is out of the car, so they are okay, but let's take a look at exactly what happened. That is coming through the kink at very, very high speed.
Fortunate that it happened further back in the pack, because if that had happened in front of a bunch of cars, that could have been really, really bad. But luckily, these cars are sturdy. Good to hear that Bennett's out of the car. All of these cars have their roll cages installed at Joe Gibbs Racing. They're in Mooresville, North Carolina, and so much work is done to make sure they are as safe as possible. And clearly all that effort on the safety side of things paying off when you see an incident like that one.
Yeah, and that really is, frankly, the worst case scenario at a track like this. High speed through the kink, losing it like that. That's one of the highest speed sections of the track. And as you said, just a testament to the work that the series and Toyota as a whole has put in to make sure that everything is safe. So happy to hear that Bennett was able to get out of the car and able to get on their way. This may take a few minutes here to get everything cleaned up because it's not just the car that we're going to have to worry about out on the track. Obviously, all those bits and pieces. Going to take a guess here that there's probably some fluid down on the track, and the other thing that the safety crews are going to want to do is check the structural integrity of those barriers on either side, because that was a pretty heavy impact.
It was, not just one, but actually two when the car shot back across the track, and that's why the kink has its reputation as perhaps the most fearsome corner in North American road racing. But it does give us a chance to talk about the cars. I mentioned the roll cage being installed by Joe Gibbs Racing, but it's a fascinating journey that these cars take. They're manufactured in Japan. They're shipped to a port in Charleston, South Carolina, get trucked to North Carolina then, where Joe Gibbs Racing installs the cage and TRD does all the other prep work that's required to get them ready to go. And they are amazing little cars. 2.4-liter engine, 4-cylinder, weigh in right around 2,700, just under 2,800 pounds. And the performance is readily apparent anytime you watch one of these races, but the fact that they can race so closely together is what makes this can't-miss racing on an SRO weekend. Yeah, most certainly. And if you want a heavy fix of this Toyota GR Cup North America style racing, I've got to remind you that every weekend before we go racing on the big stage here, we have the Toyota GR Cup Esports League, and you're able to see a lot of these drivers actually competing in that as a way to test up and train up a little bit and make sure they're able to get everything together. And I think for the next round in particular, that is going to be particularly effective because it is a circuit that SRO Motorsports Group hasn't been to in a number of years, Barber Motorsports Park. Yeah, exactly right. A chance to learn the track virtually. So many of these drivers would do that anyway, but then to get to race against some of the same names and faces that they'll race against in the Real World Championship just on the virtual side of things, that is an asset to be sure. This car's so popular on the iRacing platform. It was immediately. When it was released, it instantly became a fan favorite because it's a fun car to drive. The racing is close. Really all the reasons that we love GR Cup in the real world. Exactly. And I can tell you that I have been able to go out and tool around in it, although in my very crummy wheel-on-desk setup that I currently have, but there is a new rig coming. So that will be there, and you can look for me competing in this series because I know this is one of the first cars that I'm very excited to go out and tool around in. Definitely. Love what the GR Cup stands for. Great to see as well the reigning champion racing in Pirelli GT4 America and having a couple really good results here this weekend, including a few moments ago, the race that preceded this one on the weekend here in at Road America. Tyler Gonzalez just narrowly missed out on picking up a win in the GT4 series, but good to see that Toyota supports the champion, helping them move up the ladder. Of course, driving a Toyota Supra at the GT4 level. Exactly, and this is exactly what we envision here at SRO Motorsports Group of this series leading to. We want to see those drivers continue to work their way up and through. Two drivers that I always point to as the prime examples of that ladder system. It is Samantha Tan and Kevin Bohm, both of whom have been able to work their way up through the ladder. Samantha obviously driving in Fanatec GT World Challenge America, and Kevin Bohm driving in Pirelli GT4, but both of them started in the lower categories, have been able to work their way up, and Tyler Gonzalez is the latest one to be able to do that, and is just a testament to that ladder system that has been developed here in SRO. That's a good point. I think the poster boy in the last 10 years or so has been Michael Cooper, because he's won championships at the touring car GT4 and GT3 level, only driver to do that so far. But I think that could be changing, especially when you add GR Cup here as another rung on that ladder. A lot of folks coming out of the touring cars to race here in GR Cup. Some will take the GR Cup experience and bring it back to the TC Series or go GT4 racing. We saw Alexandra Hayner racing in GT4 America this weekend for the first time after gaining some experience here in this championship. So, yeah, lots of great crossover there, and the ability to grow within the same paddock. Also the chance to race in front of some of the team owners that have the chance potentially to hire you to put you in a car and help advance your career. That's another advantage to having the race here as part of the SRO program.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a little bit of perfect synergy that goes on when you do that. It kind of plays out very, very well. And yes, we were correct, by the way. There is a little bit of fluid down on the track. That is that white patch that you see in the middle of the circuit. Now, that is oil dry. Essentially, think of that as a super absorbent formula that you put down onto the track, and it literally sucks up all the fluid, and then it is able to be brushed away very easily. Now, the one downside to it is exactly what you're seeing on your screen, is there's a little bit of dust that gets blown up in the way, a little bit of loss of grip from the tires, but it is much more useful and much better off than having a little bit of oil on the track, which could send you skidding.
Yeah, for sure. And after a couple laps of all these cars coming through, that dust is going to be gone. You just have to grit your teeth and bear it for a few laps, but by and large, it's really a non-issue, just the little loss in visibility, really, for these teams. And again, much better than having any kind of liquid down on the racetrack. Great to hear, again, if you're just joining us, that the driver in question, Benny Muldoon, is all right after a big crash in the kink, and will be able to recover from that. Unfortunately, the car, not so much. Challenging situation there, but again, the car holding up under duress as we would have hoped.
Well, it sounds like here, while we are under this yellow flag condition, we're going to take a look back at the race yesterday, which, as you said, under changeable conditions, absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look at it. The start here at this point was single file. We started behind the safety car, a guest from the Mobil 1 Golden Ticket Award Sweepstakes, being able to wave that flag. Yuki Sano, the early standout there as they came down, though, into the corner. It was the same battle that we're seeing up at the front of the field. Jackson Bell, Gresham Wagner, as you could see the rain coming in and out. Then Yuki Sano decided to say, I'd like to involve myself in this battle, was able to get by Jackson Bell. This is kind of where Yuki's race started to come off of the rails a little bit. Rain continued to come down. Yuki lost a lot of speed and then was slipping and sliding going down that back straightaway. We had another yellow flag period because of the rain, and then Alex Garcia, kind of out of nowhere, put himself into a position to be challenging for this win, and it became a battle between himself and Jackson Bell. Bell, though, had a big off coming down through Bill Mitchell. Ben Gresham Wagner was able to capitalize. There you saw, though, Alex Garcia being pushed back in the order. At the end of the day, it was Spike Kohlbecker from Tech Sport Racing. 4 podiums in a row. That's what that indicates there. Taking the victory. A fantastic run there for Spike Kohlbecker. A well-deserved and well-earned victory for that Tech Sport team, who has put so much into this GR86 program.
Certainly have. Right now, Spike running in the 6th spot, native of the St. Louis, Missouri area. He was helped early in his career by Scott Blind, a name that if you follow SRO Racing, you might recognize. He's done some racing in GT4 over the past few seasons. It's kind of a funny story because he was supporting St. Louis drivers in single-seater racing, never thinking about driving himself. He was at a one of those single-seater races and saw a single-make support series. This was before GR Cup, and thought, you know what, actually, maybe I could do something like this after all, and that has helped to launch his racing career. But along the way, he's helped to jumpstart a number of others, and you see the hashtag STL made, St. Louis made, on the back of the car there for the proud St. Louisian Spike Kohlbecker, race winner in race 1 yesterday.
I love that. I absolutely love the pride that we see so much in the paddock from your home state, from your home area. Obviously, Ryan, you and I are both Hoosiers. We love to carry that on our shoulder. I know I was very touched when Christian Pericarpi earlier today was talking that up with me, but having that sense of pride of where you are, I think, for a lot of these drivers is something that not only can bring them sponsors, bring them opportunities as they go forward, but creates a little bit of a fun rivalry with a few drivers. If we get a Michigan driver up against us, we'll have some words.
Yeah, for sure. It's fun to have those storylines as we talk about it. Speaking of storylines, points, of course, always a storyline. Gresham Wagner still leading the points by a hefty margin, as you would expect. He's been the dominant force in the championship, but Workman, Kohlbecker with the win yesterday, and Jackson Bell just getting closer and closer as the season goes along. Even if we don't have a battle for the championship necessarily, second, third, and fourth, that's going to be good stuff for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and look at that top three. We've talked about the prowess here of Copeland Motorsports. 3 of the top 4 drivers are from that stable. The only outlier is Mike Kohlbecker there in that number 55 from Tech Sport Racing. So I think that highlights just how impressive of a job here that Spike has done to be able to insert himself into the midst of an intra-team battle that has been nothing short of dominant this year.
Yeah, that's true. Copeland does seem to have all the answers this year, but maybe things are changing. Might feel the wind shifting slightly given the strong run from Kohlbecker yesterday, and a couple others have been able to steal away wins from time to time. Tech Sports certainly one of those that should be right there in the mix. If I could take a quick digression, we were talking about Toyota and its commitment to this racing. Good news is, by the way, we're getting the word that we will be going racing next time by. But this is a company, Toyota, that puts its money where its mouth is, and even the VP and General Motors of Lexus is super invested in this. Andrew Gilliland, he's in this field.
That he is. That he is. We love to see that coming on in. We love to see that kind of synergy building in among Toyota. And that's one of the things. If you know Toyota as a brand, if you know what this brand is like, you know they go racing and they sell cars. That's what they're about.
Yeah, for sure. And to see the Lexus VP and GM actually racing what he sells, that's a testament, right, to what GR Cup is all about and to the brand's commitment to going racing in general. He's here as part of the Fast Track Racing Eagles Canyon team that's run by Toby Grahovic. Really, really cool story, I think, and one worth pointing out.
Yeah, it certainly is. As there you see a lot of weaving, trying to clean up those tires. But take a look there at the front end of that number 15 machine. Man, that is some hefty damage on the front of that. Again, so happy that Ben Muldoon was able to get out of that car. We're going to restart here with about, call it 13, maybe 12 and a half minutes left to go. Already a little bit of gamesmanship going on there as Weston Workman started to poke his nose to the outside coming down into turn 14. Gresham Wagner will control the field. Different restart zone here. They're able to go almost immediately out of turn 14, and that's exactly what Wagner does. They start to lead their way up the hill towards the flag stand as the flag flies once again, and with 12 minutes and 40 seconds left to go, we are back racing. Farther back in the field, it looks like we've got some moves being made. Christian Weir trying to be able to gain back some places that he lost early on Luke Rumberg, and there it also looks like Spike Kohlbecker trying to gain a few, but it looks like the first 6 are going to be in single file going into turn 1.
Weir, don't forget, was the pole sitter, but he's been shuffled back in this race. He still has some time, though, to try and race back up to a podium position. He's side by side further back in the field with Rumberg. Rumberg in the 31. The 71 is the pole sitter Weir. They sort themselves out with maybe a little contact there at the exit of turn number 3, and the battle's not done yet.
No, it's certainly not. They're going to be side by side going down the moraine sweep at the front of the field. Gresham Wagner continues to lead, but Bell is tucked up right behind him here at this point. Looks like Mia Lovell was also able to insert herself in that battle with Weir and Rumberg. Bell thought about maybe a little bit of a bump and run there on the back of Gresham Wagner, but thought better of it.
I thought he might make the move there. He's been so strong into turn 5 in the past, but maybe this isn't the time. When you're there with your teammate, try to build a bit of a gap and then fight it out amongst yourselves in the final couple of laps. Top 3 from the Copeland team. Then it's Jordan Rick Segrini, who's had a nice, quiet day, running right on the fringe of a podium. Lucas Weisenberg doing what he does for that smaller operation, currently 5th, but mixing it up amongst some of the giants in this series.
Yeah, and Jordan Rick Segrini having a quiet day is sort of like saying that water is wet. That's just what Rick Segrini does. He shows up, he gets solid top 10s time in and time out, doesn't really show that much flair or panache, but puts on fantastic drives. It's always impressive here from Jordan. Front of the field, it looks like the Gresham Wagner's starting to pull a little bit of a lead. Maybe a run in the background there from Spike Kohlbecker. We'll have to see how things develop going down into Canada Corner.
Great job by the Road America staff to get that incident cleaned up. That was a big hit with some major debris to try and clean up. They did so promptly. Ooh, someone goes off wide. That's Rumberg with an issue there into Canada Corner. That's going to cost him dearly. At least 2, maybe 3 spots that he dropped there with one little miscue.
Yeah, that's going to drop him all the way back to 13th, maybe 14th position there as Alex Garcia is able to get by, and now it looks like Arabe may be able to send the move going down into turn 14. I don't know if there was an issue there with that number 31 car or if he just simply missed the braking zone as, we've got a car off and into the grass. That's Jade Avedizian.
Yeah, had been running 18th at the time. Lots of grass there in the grill as well for Jade. Tough one for her. She was really good in the wet until an issue late in the race that we did not see yesterday. Back at the front of the field, though, Wagner and Bell. Bell still reticent to make the move at this stage with still 10 minutes on the clock. But further back, it's 3 wide in the run to turn number 3.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Here we go. That's going to be Kohlbecker right in front, and the number 55, he's going to be able to hold it off. Lucas Weisenberg going to be shuffled back a little bit. Kohlbecker able to get the move, as is Christian Weir, and don't look now, but Mia Lovell has sights on the Lucas Racing driver.
Yeah, she does. She's just been hanging around inside the top 10 waiting for her moment to strike, and it may just have arrived. Pretty good job by Weir to recover a couple of positions here the last few laps after getting shuffled back. Side-by-side moment going around the outside as Weir had to check up, got in really, really deep, and everything I just said, you could toss it out the window. He just gave up about 4 spots.
Yep, he's going to give that up there. Jackson Bell now having to look ahead and behind as Weston Workman has been able to close in on this battle. Jordan Rixagrini keeping it close as well. A little bit of a gap between themselves and Spike Kohlbecker. Defensive line there from Gresham Wagner as he ran off into the grass on the exit of turn 7.
You'd think that would have left him vulnerable, but it really didn't. He kept his foot in it. Didn't seem to lose too much momentum either. Jackson Bell still sitting there, line astern, very patient, seemingly biding his time. But again, if we go back to the beginning of this race, we saw how good he was in those heavy brake zones. I do think he's got something for the race leader, Gresham Wagner, before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And only 0.8 of a second, call it 0.9 of a second, separating that top 4. Wide run there for a couple of drivers, including Jordan Rixagrini, but he's able to gather the car back up. Here's a good run for Jackson Bell. This is some of the closest running we've seen. Doesn't go for the move into Canada Corner. He is picking his moment, but with only 8 minutes and 7 seconds left to go, he's got to pick that moment soon.
We've been talking about the different teams involved. We've mentioned Copeland, we've talked about Tech Sport, but how about BSI Racing? Jordan Rixagrini doing a really nice job for that team. This car right here, the number 18 from the BSI stable. A lot of success in single make racing in various series here in North America, and coming on strong here this year in Toyota GR Cup as well.
Yeah, and his teammate Maximilian Hewitt in 9th place here at this point. So a good 2 top 10s, a double top 10 day for BSI Racing potentially on the cards. But the front, here comes Bell again, kind of fades to the inside, but thinks better of it here at this point. There again, Gresham Wagner loves that wide line coming through turn 1.
Keeps the momentum up, doesn't it? It's a Copeland 1, 2, 3, then BSI's Jordan Rixagrini. BSI, by the way, co-owned by Shea Holbrook, a name that you might remember from racing touring cars back in the World Challenge days. Part of that ownership group there. Saw her earlier this weekend, and used to see her regularly behind the wheel of a race car, but now overseeing this BSI operation. Battle on for the lead, though. Wagner and Bell, nose to tail. Bump draft down the Moraine sweep into turn number 5, but Bell again still doesn't feel like the time is right to pull out a line and make the move.
No, he's not even doing his little poke and prod here going into turn 6. I think he is just gathering everything back up and maybe analyzing as much as possible of what Gresham Wagner is doing in front of him.
Awesome ground there, though, at the top of the hill. Wagner has about as much breathing room as you will ever see in a GR Cup race at the front of the field. We'll call it half a car length. But Jackson Bell right there, though, trying to gather it back in with Weston Workman right behind him.
Yeah, Workman trying to be able to close on in. Directly behind them, it's Rick Sagrini and Kohlbecker, your top 5. A little bit of a gap then back to Lucas Weisenberg. And yeah, Ryan, you called it right. Jackson Bell definitely lost ground there coming up through turn 6 and 7 to Gresham Wagner. Call that about 3 or 4 car lengths of a gap in between them. Further back in the field, Mia Lovell under pressure here from Christian Weir, who's trying to regain the positions that he lost when he had that off going down into turn 5.
This would be a good day for Mia Lovell if she can continue to run where she is in the 7th spot. She did finish 6th in the season opener at Sonoma, but this would be her second best result of the season. As they run, Wagner now out by himself. The freight train is forming behind Jackson Bell. Jackson's got to get going now because his teammate Weston Workman doesn't want to wait anymore. Workman to the inside, he grabs the spot. We got a tire rub on Jackson Bell. I think there is some smoke coming from that machine, and he has lost a number of spots and immediately makes the call to the pit lane.
Oh, heartbreak here for Jackson Bell as he dives into pit lane. This will promote a number of drivers up to the front of the field here.
Might not have been a tire rub. That could have been something more nefarious than that, and that could have perhaps explained why he was dropping off the pace of Gresham Wagner. Another explanation might be that Gresham just put in the fastest lap of the race at a 2:31.6. The group behind all in the 2:32 bracket, so Wagner in a class of his own as he has been throughout the course of this 2024 season.
Yeah, but the fight is still on here. Farther back in the field, Workman, Rick Segrini, Kohlbecker, and Weisenberg all over each other here at this point. I just saw a hand signal out the side of the car there. I think that was from Spike Kohlbecker, probably a little bit of a, hey, let's work together, let's catch these guys. Not uncommon to see here in GR Cup.
Side by side in the run into turn 5. Rick Segrini with the hood flapping just a bit on the right-hand side of that machine. Doesn't seem to be slowing him down a whole lot as he continues to put the pressure on in this battle that he's in right now.
Yeah, and he's fighting here with Spike Kohlbecker as Weston Workman's been able to break away a little bit from the 3rd and 4th place drivers. He's trying to close in on his teammate Gresham Wagner, but we've seen this time and time again. When Wagner gets out front, he gets clean air, and crucially, the draft is broken. He's in a class of his own. You just can't catch him. There's a look at Jackson Bell getting out of the car. The hood is up. Ryan, I think you were right. That may be a little bit more terminal than a tire rub.
The frustration was visible, and you got a feel for him. It looked like he was in the right position to go for the win late in this race. Instead, it's Gresham Wagner who won the first 5 races of the season on the bounce. Hasn't been winning with quite the same regularity as of late, but still, it's not a weekend has gone by without at least one race win on one of these GR Cup weekends. Needs to win today to keep that streak going after a relatively disappointing day yesterday, however.
Here comes a move, trying to go to the outside. There was Jordan, or to the inside there, rather, was Spike Kohlbecker on Jordan Rick Segrini. Kohlbecker's got it done, but Rick Segrini tries to fight back through Bill Mitchell Bend. Not going to play out. The Tech Sport Racing driver of Spike Kohlbecker will be able to hold on to that final podium position, but this battle is nowhere near done. We should be at about 2 laps left to go at the line, if my math is correct, but never trust a commentator's math.
It's going to be close. They're running 2:31s. The clock is ticking down to 2:32 as Wagner crosses the line. We did not see a white flag displayed, but remember, you don't need to. If the clock is at all zeros when they come around the next time, that is race over. It's right on the fringe, though, for Gresham Wagner, who ran a 2:32 the last time around, and he's got a bit of a buffer at 1.6 seconds over Weston Workman.
Yeah, so he may choose to lift off a little bit there and let this be the last lap. Rick Segrini takes a look down into turn 3 on Spike Kohlbecker. Now gives him a little how you doing coming through turn 3 as they'll get onto the power down the moraine sweep. And don't look now, but the number 71 of Christian Weir back up into this conversation for a podium.
That's the pole-sitting car. We know he's got some pace. 2 Tech Sport cars now in the top 5, joining 2 from Copeland Motorsports, and then the BSI car of Rick Segrini. Rick Segrini guarding the inside here as Weir takes a peek around the outside. That's not going to happen for him, but he does look back to the inside now, coming up the hill to towards turn 6. Rick Segrini's got that covered off too, the 18 looking stout.
Looking very stout here at this point. Mia Lovell in a little bit of a battle. We keep our eyes on the flag stand, waiting to see if we are going to get that checkered flag here. Checking back on the battle, Rick Segrini and Weir right And it looks like here we're having a debate on whether or not this checkered flag is going to fly.
It's really going to be very marginal. And again, we didn't see a white flag, but we don't need to. If the clock is at all zeros, we will get the checkered flag the next time around. Tom Hansing in the flag stand. He's keeping close tabs on the clock. He's got one flag in each hand. Which one's it going to be, Tom?
Oh, he's just messing with us at this point.
Gresham Wagner hopes it's the checkered because he's out in front here, and he can manipulate this a little bit, to your point. He's got enough of a margin. If he just backs it off a little bit, he can ensure that this is indeed the final lap. His advantage over his teammate, 1.6 seconds.
All right, here he comes through turn 14 at this point. Gresham Wagner looking towards the flag stand, as are all eyes around the track to see if this will be the checkered or the white flag. Wagner climbs the hill here as he goes. Big gap over the rest of the field. Wagner coming to the line. It is white flag. One more lap to go. Wagner's got to keep pushing.
We told you it would be close, and it was the matter of about 1 second. We've got one more lap to go. Who does this give an opportunity to? Who could this potentially hurt? I'll tell you who gives an opportunity to. Christian Weir just set the fastest lap of the race. 5th car in line. He is flying, and he's got designs on getting at least one more spot.
Yeah, Weir wants to try to get up into this 4th place position if he can here at this point. Big tire squeal there that you heard, and that is just a testament to how you have to drive these cars here, Ryan. You've got to chuck them through the corner and get them a little bit slideways.
Sure sounds that way after that, and I think it was more than that. It's Garcia. Right front down for Garcia, who has had no luck, if not for bad luck, here this weekend, whether it's here in GR Cup or in the touring car ranks.
As we check back in on the battle for the final podium position, Spike Kohlbecker, Jordan Rick Sagrini, and Christian Weir. It is going to be Kohlbecker holding it off for now, but we know the speed that Jordan Rick Sagrini has, and obviously the pace that your pole sitter, Christian Weir, has as well. This one could come down to the wire.
Certainly could, and it might just be a matter of you pick the right lane in that drafting battle coming up the hill between these 3 cars. We will soon see, because time has run out. This is the final lap. Gresham Wagner's lead, 1.4 seconds over Weston Workman. Then Spike Kohlbecker, the winner yesterday, looking to make it a double podium weekend.
Yeah, you would love to be able to do that in that very, very close battle for P2 in the championship. If he's able to do that, especially with Jackson Bell having a little bit of a rough day there. You just saw Weston Workman flash the headlights a little bit, I think trying to just see if he can catch Gresham Wagner off guard, but that's not something that is easily done.
No, it is not. He's a champion at multiple levels of motorsports. Gresham Wagner racking up those race wins here in 2024 as well. This is for the final step of the podium. Rick Sagrini into the back of the 55 of Kohlbecker. Both of them go wide, and here comes the pole sitter, Christian Weir.
Great heads up from Christian Weir to try to steal that position away. He's going to be able to hold 3rd through Bill Mitchell Bend. A great run for Christian Weir. Just brilliant heads up, but none of that is any concern here. To the number 5 of Gresham Wagner, out of the final corner, climbing the hill here, coming under the bridge. The checkered flag is in the air, and Gresham Wagner, as he has done so many times before, will take victory here in Toyota GR Cup North America. Farther back in the field, it is going to be Weston Workman and Christian Weir rounding out the podium position. Spike Kohlbecker and Jordan Rick Sagrini is going to be 5th after that contact that we saw. Great day here for Mia Lovell as she will end up 7th.
How about a top 10 for Kazuhisa Irabe as well for Precision Racing LA, the driver coming over as part of that Toyota GR Racing program, giving a couple of young Japanese drivers a chance to race here in the States. Great result for him. Sano had the starring role, if not the result yesterday, but Irabe today with a really good effort in dry conditions up against some experienced competitors here in this championship. Great outcome for him in this race. But Wagner picks up the win once again. He's been accumulating them this year. That helps him to extend the points lead too. That's interesting. He's gonna do some donuts. Burn down those Continental tires, Gresham Wagner. Why not? Well, that was hard earned. He had to fight his way through, got dropped back a couple positions off the start, raced his way up through the field, took the lead, and never looked back, although you do wonder, if not for the issues for Jackson Bell, not of his making, he did appear to have the pace to challenge Gresham Wagner later on in the race, had he been around to do so. Well, the field making their way around one final time, and Gresham Wagner soon will be parking that number 5 car in victory lane here at Road America. Look at the results. Wagner by 1.5 seconds over Weston Workman. Then Christian Weir, the pole sitter, led early, got dropped back as far as 8th, then raced back up inside the podium to the top 3. Spike Kohlbecker and Jordan Rick-Segrini completing the top 5. Lucas Weisenberg, Mia Lovell, Henry Drury, another top 10 run. Ford Cook and Kazuhisa Irabe, the top 10. There are a few incidents still under review, so we stress these results are still provisional here at this stage. But that's the way they crossed the line at the very least, with Hewitt, Clemens, Rumberg, and Mashore, as well as Anderson completing the top 15. Then Sano, Aust, Davis, Alfonso Diaz, and Andrew Gilliland in the 20th spot. For Gresham Wagner, it's another race win. Gresham, quite a story to get to racing. Had to take a multi-year hiatus, actually, from motorsports because of severe scoliosis when he was young. That required a major surgery that cost him a number of years in the seat. That recovery took 2 months in the hospital after that surgery. But since he got back into it, he's won multiple championships at the club level. He's won championships in touring cars, single make racing. Came so close last year, but it looks like this is the year of Gresham Wagner, barring something unforeseen, with 4 races still to run. Barber Motorsports Park, and then a pair to close out the year at Indianapolis. Wagner over Workman by a substantial margin. Then it's Spike Kohlbecker. That's still a good fight there for 2nd and 3rd. Jackson Bell flirting with it too. And what might have been if he could have just finished in the top 5, which he looked destined to today. Then it's Weisenberg in the 5th spot. 10 rounds into the season. That's the way they stack up from a points perspective. DJ Clark very soon will have a word with Gresham Wagner for us. He's made his way down to Victory Circle. Cars heading into Parc Fermé. And there is the race winner after a couple of celebratory donuts down at the foot of the hill in turn 5. That's where he had a few battles today. Good place to celebrate. Dean Copeland leaning in there to celebrate as well. Team owner of Copeland Motorsports. Great operation that he's put together and has risen to the top of Toyota GR Cup North America here in 2024. That's Dean with the black outfit and baseball cap. And that, of course, is Gresham Wagner. Fist in the air to celebrate another race win. That is number 7 on the season now. And a huge result for him. 7 wins this year for sure. 5 in a row to start the year. Or would that be 6 actually? He has won at least once on every weekend. So let me double check my math here. This would be win number 7. Yes, correct. 2 at Sonoma, 2 at 2 at Sebring rather. 1 apiece then at COTA, VIR, and here at Road America. There's Weston Workman, his teammate, getting these congratulations of his crew. 2nd place, he's had a lot of those this year, has Weston. Nipping at the heels of his teammate, but not quite enough here today. Let's hear from Gresham now with DJ.
Gresham, you are normally so calm, cool, and composed here, but some donuts down in turn 5. A big number 1 when you come off. This one had to have felt good.
Yeah, it's my 10th GR Cup win, so that was always a benchmark. I hit 10 wins in other series I raced at this track last year, so I guess it's a bit fitting that I hit 10 here. But yeah, great race. Had a bit of a rough start, but then got up front, and I'll give a shout out to Jackson because he worked with me really well. Didn't really get the finish he deserved. I don't know exactly what happened, but either way, he deserved to be up there fighting for the win with me. So that was disappointing, but still happy to have my Copeland teammate in second. The team did such a amount of work to get through this weekend with the rain and then the changing weather. Race 1 wasn't great yesterday, so we were looking to really capitalize with the dry weather and come out on top today.
Well, you certainly did capitalize. You came out on top. Congratulations.
Thank you.
He alluded to it yesterday, a 10th place finish, easily the worst on the season, but bouncing back and picking up the 7th win of the year, had the 3 last year. So that's how we get to the 10 GR Cup race wins in the career of Gresham Wagner. A look back at our race here today, second of the weekend for Toyota GR Cup North America. Christian Weir, the pole sitter, on the left-hand side of the screen. Now to the right-hand side of the screen, fending off the early challenge from outside pole sitter Gresham Wagner. Big scramble further back in the pack. The early battle was between Weir and Jackson Bell. Jackson got a great start to get up into the second spot. Lost the lead here, though, to his teammate. Good fighting throughout this top group. Some contact, but that's GR Cup racing for you. This was the big moment, though. Brought out a yellow. Bennett Muldoon, heavy impact on the right-hand side, and then back across the track. Multiple contacts. Bennett was all right. The race did resume after a lengthy delay, and it was Wagner out in front at that time. Spike Kohlbecker, Jordan Ricksegrini, they were involved in the battles, as was Christian Weir and Spike Kohlbecker. Problems here, mechanical for Jackson Bell, cost him a great result. Gresham Wagner, unchallenged, takes the checker flag first by 1.5 seconds over Weston Workman, while Christian Weir took home third. Celebratory donuts for the points leader, Gresham Wagner, leaving with a win.